The Tao Te Ching, verse 4. The Tao is empty, but inexhaustible, bottomless, the ancestor of it all. Within it, the sharp edges become smooth. The twisted knots loosen. The sun is softened by a cloud. The dust settles into place. It is hidden, but always present. I do not know who gave birth to it. It seems to be the common ancestor of all, the father of things. I think there's a few takeaways in this particular verse. One being that we need to just relax. Step outside ourselves and take a look at the situations and not be so stressed out over what seems to be so important. I'll give you some examples along with a few little phrases or something, Like row your boat gently down the stream, and that's the stream of life and consciousness. To not sweat the small stuff. Everything that is within you is without. We get it. Everything that you need is within you. Whether you need to pay off your bills or you need to find peace and, you need to look at a certain situation like your niece and her math test and she's freaking out because she doesn't know what to do. Some things just aren't really all that important when you look back on things, and yet we just tend to freak out. We seem to have an issue, and I've been guilty of it myself, where if we don't beat ourselves up over things, we're just not doing it right in other people's eyes. We seem to think that you need to beat yourself up. You need to be your biggest critic. And we really don't. I don't need to care about certain things that really, in the end, really don't mean anything. And our creator, as co-creators, we're supposed to just understand. Everything happens for a reason in its own set time and place. And if it doesn't happen as quickly as we want it to, you don't need to freak out. If it doesn't happen the exact way in which we want it to, you really don't need to freak out. In the end, everything happens for a reason, and it happens for the best. Like, we all seem to, make little phrases along the way, like, oh, it's God's will, or, something stupid to the effect. But we can learn from these. Now, everything that I need in my life is within. All of my bills to be paid and how to go about doing that. Everything that I need as far as anything that I could comprehend is already within me. It's inexhaustible. There's, it is just bottomless. Okay. What does that mean to you in your own personal experiences in life? Relax. It'll all be taken care of. Just enjoy the moment. Live in the moment. Be in the moment. And let go. Let go and let God. If you're stressing out over something, don't worry. It'll all unfold in its own due time, in its own proper way. And when we look back on it all, we're like, wow, that happened for a reason. That happened for the best. And, while this situation may not have been so great while I was in it, it turned out for the best. We can learn from that to just relax. Know that God has our back. And we just don't need to stress out. But what we need to do is find something within us to come to peace and enjoy. The quickest way to manifestations are to take your mind off of them. Enjoy life for a brief moment. Don't think about it so much. And that works on all levels with all things. When it comes to your retirement, you want to calculate how much you're going to actually need to retire. Where am I going to get that kind of but at the same time, I don't need to worry so much. You see what I mean? Everything will work out. Now, if I let go and let God, have less resistance and less beating myself up over crap, everything's more enjoyable. Life doesn't have to be so hard. Life doesn't have to be so complicated. We do this to ourselves because it's ingrained within us that we have to. You have to stress out in order for people to accept it and feel as though you're not lazy and that you're doing something about it. Yet you're not actually doing anything other than make it come a little later and later and later by the more that you show others how much you're beating yourself up over it. And then when you look at how much you're actually contributing to its delay, you're not going to want to do that anymore. So I think if we understand that everything that our Creator has for us is already predestined, we can stop sweating all the small crap in life. We don't need to be so stressed out and uptight and beating ourselves up over things, and we don't need to keep beating the same drum of resistance. Music, movies, cooking your favorite meal. You can take your mind off all of these worries that you have just by doing a couple of these things all at the same time. Let go of being so stressed out. Take your mind off of it. Crank up some tunes. Rock out for a mad minute while you create a glorious, fabulous, healthy meal. Talk about the gloriousness of each individual ingredient being like how healthy they are and how much of a gift God has created within such a thing. To find gratitude versus being so stuck and focused on all the negative. What you put your mind to, you achieve. And if you allow yourself to just feel peace and bliss and gratitude and living in the moment, it makes things easier. It makes our creator, who is bottomless, with our resources. There's enough to go around. But it gives our creator a chance to flow through us. For when we meet with resistance on any level, from the smallest little bit of resistance to like, that's all you're focusing on, it's just going to delay it more and more and more. Relax. Go do something you enjoy for a minute. Soak in the tub for all I care. Don't focus on it. Stop thinking about it. But if you can't stop thinking about it, don't think about it with negativity. Think about it with positivity. Usually it's all centered around money. When it comes to the human minds and life and everything, we put so much emphasis on money. And that's just one example that we focus on with so much negativity. You can turn that around, though, by understanding there is enough to go around and we're not going to have a shortage of anything, even in money. And you can't do everything. So just chill out and let it be done. Thinking positive around such issues, like money, for an example. Instead of being like, oh, I can't pay this bill and I can't pay this and how am I going to pay this? And oh God, now the septic's backed up and everything. And it's like, do you see how much negativity you're putting in that? Those were a couple little tiny things, just as examples. But look how much negativity there is within them. Now, just on those examples, flip it around. Well, the septic was the last thing I had mentioned. Okay, your septic system's all backing up, and it seems so overwhelming, and you just don't know what to do. Well, relax and understand that maybe those pipes were really old and they needed to be replaced. How are you going to get the money? Where's that going to come from? Don't worry about it so much. Just know that in time you'll look back on it and it was done. Combining the two like I had done, okay? Be grateful. Find positive things to think about it and say about it. It'll come faster than if you're focused on negative aspects of it all. No matter what the situation is, whether it's your money and your septic system or whatever, you know what I mean? Those were just tiny little crappy examples. Psh. But we all have problems, and we all put so much negativity within them, and we don't even realize it. I mean, I've said it before in other videos, before I even got to the Tao, you know, everything around us is so full of negativity. Be aware of it all. Use that to your advantage. By understanding how much negativity you're putting into things, like you're stressing out, where am I going to get the money and how am I going to do this? Now I got this problem and that problem. That is negativity. But if you realize, okay, well, I didn't realize, it's not a bad moment, but now I see, and the example of your septic, and you don't even have the money to deal with it, okay? I didn't know up until this problem that the pipes were that old and they needed to be replaced. But now it's all being done. And at the same time, it's going to last for years and years to come. So I'm grateful that there was a problem, because otherwise I wouldn't have never noticed. Do you see how I've taken something that's so crappy, but and I've taken negativity out of it. I've taken resistance out of it. And I've turned that around into a positiveness. No matter what it is that you're focusing on, realize you very well could be holding yourself in that situation or that blessing or whatever from you just by negativity that's ingrained with us that we don't even realize and that we oftentimes think is a blessing. Like beating ourselves up over, we didn't get a job and we spent all day wandering around and, like you're just putting tons of negativity in that. Where's the blessing in it? Can you think of one? Can you find a way to change what you are ultimately stating from a negative aspect of it all, holding yourself within resistance, into a positive blessing full of gratitude, releasing resistance, and allowing our Creator to flow through you to bring it about faster? Maybe these couple of examples weren't the best, but we're all dealing within the here and now. And we're so stressed out over here and now. And at the same time, we were raised by people putting negativity into us as though it's a positive thing. And it really isn't. You don't need to beat yourself up out of fear that somebody else will, or that it would look better if you beat yourself up over it so people can see, oh, how good you're doing. And don't worry, honey, it'll all work out. You're not needing approval, but at the same time, we do things that are negative for a sense of comfort, because that's what's been ingrained within us. Finding comfort within negativity doesn't mean you're going to manifest things before you any quicker. It just means you're coming to terms and peace with a negative aspect, but you're holding yourself within the negativity and finding comfort and solace within it. That's not going to help you. It's just holding you there and feeling less of a resistance towards the blessing of negativity that you feel is a blessing. Maybe I could have said things a little bit differently, a little less roundabout, however you'd like to put it. But we can all find different examples within our own lives where we've got so much negativity around us, let alone what's within us. And a lot of times we're just born that way because the people in our past don't want us to have any sort of positiveness, ultimately telling us they do, but they don't. If you understood how the universe works, how quote unquote God works as a creator who co-creates with us in a human form, if you understand that life is short and you don't need to sweat the small things, if you understand that everything that we need will be taken care of, and we don't have to freak out over not having enough, It'll get you along your way a little bit quicker. If you take a look at everything around you and meet with less resistance and more positiveness and gratitude, it'll come quicker. But don't be sitting there watching TV programs at the same time, spewing out garbage, even though it makes you laugh. Because all you're doing is just allowing more negativity around you while you're trying to become positive and let go of negativity holding you back. Your whole entire situation around you in life, right down to what you hear and listen to and watch on TV, use it to your advantage and grow from it all and realize just how much negativity you're putting into things that you don't even realize you are, and hear how you thought everything was positive really is a negative and holding you back. And we can grow from it and watch things come quicker and with less stress and less pain and discomfort and less beating ourselves up. Enjoy life, enjoy the here and now.